guys, welcome to Dinner with Danny. If you've ever said, I can't cook, or I'm not a good cook, or I don't know how to cook, this is the show for you. Listen, I used to only make spaghetti with sauce out of a jar, or shake and bake and potatoes out of a box. So, if I can cook, you can cook. Today we're going to make stuffing. Since it's close to Thanksgiving, and some of you might not be traveling home for Thanksgiving because of this whole COVID thing, and might have to try and make your own for the first time. I'm going to help you out and give you a few tips on how to make stuffing so good. And if you haven't seen the show before, I usually wear a different apron every time. This one says Lucy on it. That's my dog, Lucy. I also have one that says Daisy for my other dog, Daisy. They make appearances now and then. And since it's like Thanksgiving time, I'm like, you know what? I'm thankful for my puppies, so there you go. All right, stuffing. Get the bag in the store. All right. It's just cubed bread. You can stale your own bread and cut it into cubes, or just doesn't have to be cubes. You can make it into little pieces, but it's a pain. So just do this. Buy this. It comes already seasoned, or you can get the plain if you don't want seasoned. Then you want a nice white or yellow onion and some celery. Add some chicken stock. You need some butter. That's pretty much it for stuffing. But if you want to make it really good, like stuffing a la Danny, you're going to add some craisins, some walnuts, and a green apple. All right. It's so good. It's so good. I have to say I make the best stuffing. I make the best stuffing. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just dump that in a bowl. Because we're putting celery and onion in this, we're going to saute these in a pan first. So I'm just going to put this aside, and I'm going to chop up some onion and celery, and then while that's sauteing, we'll dice up our apple. Okay, so I'm just making a small batch tonight because Thanksgiving is next week. But so I'm just going to use 2 stalks of celery. It's already been washed. I'm going to cut the yellow parts off. Okay, so I'm going to slice this one down the middle. And then just dice this up into, I don't know, little pieces like that big. Like I said, there's no rule. So this actually doesn't look like enough celery for me because we have this huge bowl. And I could just use half of that, but I already poured it out, so I'll just chop these up. 2 more stalks of celery. I like a lot of celery in mine. It adds a nice crunch. All right, for that amount, I think this is good. I'm going to put these in the pan before the onion because they take longer because they're harder. I'm going to put about a tablespoon or so of butter. You just want to soften these a little bit. You don't want to get them too mushy. So I'm melting my butter on a pretty low heat. And my celery. Just a little stir. Let that sit. I'll turn up to like medium low while I cut my onions. So when you're cutting onions, always put them in the freezer for 10 or 15 minutes before you cut them. And that will make the crying less. It'll cut down on the tears. I'm going to show you a really good way to dice onions. And you can make them as big or small as you want. Again, don't make them too small because they're going to cook down. All right, so I usually cut it lengthwise this way. Now, cut this end off. Bam. Now you have a flat surface. Well, here's a note. Get the papery part of the onion off before you start cutting. because that can be slippery when you go to cut that first cut. It goes everywhere, and I almost cut my finger off. Huh. All right, so we have this, and we're going to just cut some slices in this way. 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, something like that. All right, and then we're going to cut it this way. And like that. And there's your diced onions. They're all about that size. Okay, so diced up half the onion. You kind of have to pick them apart a little bit sometimes, but now I have a good amount. I'm going to put this in the pan. In they go. I'm just going to do this for like 5 minutes. You don't want to caramelize them. You don't want to cook them too much. You just want to kind of get them soft. And you're going to let them cool a little bit before you put them into your mixture. If you want to have them cook a little faster, you could cover them, and that way they'll kind of steam. So we'll leave that there for a few minutes, medium-low. Okay, while I'm letting my onions and celery soften in the butter, I'm going to peel my apple, and then I'm going to cut it into maybe a little bigger chunks than what I did the celery, because this will really cook down in the oven. So you peel this. And I always like to use a green apple for this. It's nice and tart, goes with the craisins and the walnuts. You can use whatever you want, but I like the green ones. All right, so this is peeled. I use my kachunka because it goes kachunk. If you don't have one of these, it's awesome. Just cut it and slice it, and go kachunk. And there you go. You have these little pieces here. That does half the work for you. Okay. Then just cut these into pieces about that big. A little bigger than the onions and celery. Okay, so I've got my apple all cut up. I'm going to add that to my breadcrumbs. In they go. And then we're going to add some craisins. Dried cranberries. Whatever brand. I guess craisins is the brand. I'm not supposed to say that, but I like a lot. And there's a lot of breadcrumbs in here. Just get the proportions, to what you want. If you just want a little bit of cranberry in there, just put a little bit of cranberry in there. Like a lot. And then you get walnuts. I love putting walnuts in there because it adds a crunch, but they're kind of big. I don't know if you can see that. They're kind of big, so I might just run my knife through these and do a couple handfuls, just so, it looks about the same as your, same amount as your onions and your celery and your apple. Run my knife through this real quick. All right, now we have a nice amount of walnuts to go in here. Let's check on our onions and celery. It should be ready. It smells good. Dinner with Danny. Okay, let's check this. Oh, perfect. All right. Smell the onions. Beautiful. Shut this off. Let it sit for a minute before we put it in the other mixture. Okay, so these are cooled off a little bit. Now I am going to just add these to my mixture. Now I know I said I was going to make a small batch tonight because it's a week before Thanksgiving, but I made the mistake of pouring the whole bag in the bowl, so now I have a huge amount. I always make enough for an army. If you've seen my show before, you know I always make huge amounts of stuff. But you can freeze it. I have a freezer full of food. So this pandemic, like, I have been good because, thank God, I've had a freezer full of food. All right, so I'm going to mix this up a little bit. And it's going to be a little awkward because everything is dry right now. But then, I don't know if I told you, but we need some chicken stock. Or turkey stock. Okay, I just got a can. And a little at a time. You don't want to get too much because then it gets mushy. But you want enough that it sticks together. So, I might end up using my hands for this one. But, yeah. This definitely needs more. I'm going to say the whole can. I'm going to get my hands in there. I washed them. Shut up. Shut up, Barbara. All right, so you want it to get to a point where you can kind of squish it together and it sticks. All right. It's just getting there. We haven't even added spices yet. Oh my God. There we go. It'll look and smell like stuffing. I usually do it in a pan in the oven or in a casserole dish. Because if you put it in the bird, I usually do it in the bird too, but usually by the time the turkey is cooked and done, the stuffing inside might not be. So then you have to cook it longer, and then the turkey gets dry. And so I put it in the bird just to kind of help it get moist. I think the stuffing inside helps get the turkey nice and moist. At least it does for me. It always works. And then have a separate pan to eat. You know, the stuff inside the turkey, if it's hot enough, use your thermometer. If it's hot enough, and it's yummy because it's got the turkey juices already in it. You know, do the rest of it in the pan. Because this is not all going to fit in the turkey unless you have a gigantic turkey. And hopefully, we're not all having big gatherings this year. As sad as it is, at least now you know how to make your own stuffing. Okay. We're going to add some spices to this. Look at this. It looks so nice, right? This is your stuffing. So preheat your oven to 350. While you're doing all this, we're going to add some poultry seasoning. If you have it. If you don't worry about it. Just give it a good sprinkle. And then rosemary and thyme. Thanksgiving is rosemary and thyme. All right. Do it in your hand first because the rosemary, if it comes like this, is going to come out very fast, and they're like pine needles. So you don't want a whole lot of pine needles in your mouth. But you definitely want the rosemary. My thyme shaker's a little more forgiving. All right. And then some garlic powder. La, 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 la. Okay. Shut up, Barbara. Adobo. I put that shit on everything. So this is a whole bag, half an onion, 4 stalks of celery, and what did I use? 1 green apple, a couple handfuls of craisins, a couple handfuls of walnuts. Smells good. Once it's all mixed together and it's ready to go into the casserole dish, first I'm going to do a little bit in a pan on the oven just to taste it, see if it needs anything.
That way you can taste it and see if it needs anything before you come out of the oven and it's gross. You don't want it to be gross. Yeah. So that's why we're going to fix it before we put it in the oven. Yeah.
See how that's done, Barbara? Shut up, Barbara. Squish this together with my hand so it stays together and doesn't fall apart in the pan. And then Okay, so it's sizzling a little bit. Give it a little press. It's starting to come apart a little bit, but you can still do a taste test. A little flip. Probably could have used a little more chicken stock in this to keep it together, so it would have got it wet and mushy. But it'll moisten up in the oven because of all the fruit and the onions and everything. Give this a minute. We're going to taste it. All right, we're going to give this a little taste. Needs pepper. Salty enough, I think, from the seasoning and the breadcrumbs, but could use a little pepper. But other than that, I think it's really good. I'll put a little apple cider in it. Now it's sticking together. I'm going to put it in a casserole dish. We're going to spray this. Don't tell Amy I'm using aerosol spray. You could just put oil on a wet rag and do that. All right. I hope this all fits. It looks perfect. It's got lots of color. It's got the green apple. It's got the red cranberries. Color equals vitamins. It does. Color equals vitamins. That's what I heard. Oh, look at that. That looks beautiful. I think I need a toast to myself for that one. We're going to cover this in tinfoil. I'm going to cook it for about half an hour and then take the tinfoil off for the last 5 minutes. So about 35 minutes total. Alright, kind of loosely. I'll put it in the oven, 350. And now we wait. Have a drink. I need a refill. Dinner with Annie. And if you wanted to make your mashed potatoes now, you have 35 minutes to just sit there and wait. So you can start peeling your potatoes, boiling them, and maybe we'll do that next one. Next episode. Yeah. And drink. So it's been about 30 minutes. I took this stuffing out of the oven, and I'm going to take the tinfoil off. Oops, some of it's stuck there. Oh, it smells so good. We're going to give it another 5 minutes or so, just to let the top kind of brown up a little bit. Okay, time for the big reveal. This smells so good. It smells like Thanksgiving. Steamy, piping hot. Sticking together. That's nice. On my plate. Let's give this a try. It's so good. You get the flavor of the apple, and then it's cranberry. Like crunch of a walnut. It's just oh. It's like getting hit in the face 15 times. This is very good stuffing. If I do so myself. So, hopefully, I gave some helpful hints for stuffing for Thanksgiving. My next video is going to be sour cream and chive mashed potatoes. So yummy. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you tried it, if it worked, if you liked it, if it sucked, whatever. Let me know. Thanks to all my subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, click the button below. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And happy Thanksgiving. Oh, remember, if you don't eat, you'll die. Food for thought.